The Pirelli World Challenge GT Championships now come to the incredibly tight concrete line confines of St. Petersburg Street Circuit. Welcome to St. Petersburg in rounds 3 and 4 of the 2016 Pirelli World Challenge GT Championships. It is the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer, joined as always by Calvin Fish. And Cal, pretty quick turnaround from Circuit of the Americas. Incidences in that second round have huge championship implications already, especially for one of the favorites.
They really do, Greg. The racing in COTA was immense, but at times too close for comfort. We saw that at the start of race 2. J.D. Davis and Pat Long getting together, turning Pat hard into the fence. Consequences were no checkered flag that day for Pat Long. Now the team effort racing, a huge scramble to get the car on the grid here in St. Petersburg.
We'll have more on that in just a minute, but on the other side of the coin, if you come out fast and you come out consistent, that's how you want to start a championship. And right now, the rest of the paddock's seeing a little bit of red.
Well, it's an ominous sign when our four-time champ Johnny O'Connell has the championship lead so early in the season. Cadillac was strong in COTA. Look at his young teammate Michael Cooper. 2 podium runs. This boy is for real.
No question about it, and yes, there are going to be a lot of red puns as the season unfolds. Now, we promised you more information on the occurrences and the developments with Pat Long. For more on that, let's meet our third member of the broadcast team, Jeff Lepper. Jeff, what's the story?
Well, a couple of pre-race notes. 128 man-hours at effort racing, 3 dedicated people. They took the car to Alex Job's shops in nearby Tavares, Florida to get that car fixed. 3 dedicated personnel. They made it. Patrick Long did 1 reconnaissance lap yesterday, able to make the grid today. Watch for him coming through the field. Ryan Eversley had a puncture in qualifying, then lost the brakes, had to pitch the car into a wall. He's coming from the back of the pack, so watch him to be fast here today.
Pat Long did get a few laps in practice in Michael Lewis's car, which is great for us because as we go to the Porsche track preview, it is with Pat Long. Enjoy this ride.
Welcome to St. Petersburg. Let's go on board for one lap with Replay XD. This is Patrick Long heading down into turn 1, late hard braking, looking for the 400-meter board. Trail that brake all the way in, try to pick up the second apex, keep the car driver's right, try to keep some throttle on all the way through this section. This right-left section into turn 3 is very quick, over 100 miles an hour, right out to the wall. Miss the bump a little bit to the left. Braking 300 meters, trail the brake all the way down and keep that nose loaded. A little bit of throttle squirt in between here. Rotate the car, turn 6 and 7. Now you flat out blind all the way through here. Late hard braking, trail it in, roll off the brake, back to throttle, breathe it, be patient here, pick up the second clip right there. Eyes up, on throttle hard, all the way down the back straightaway into the kink. Sort of an unofficial turn 9, 10. All the way out, late braking, first board 300, trail it down, second gear, release the brake early, pick your eyes up, the wall comes right out to you. Another very unique high-speed kink, turn 11 and 12, fourth gear, keep the diff locked all the way out, driver's right. Now you're gonna do a classic diamond, cut the car back, look for the end of this red and white curbing, on throttle hard all the way out to the wall. One lap at one of the best street circuits in the world, St. Petersburg.
Well, that's a great onboard look from this fabulous circuit from one of the best in the business, Cal. A lot of corners on this track, but there's one in particular that always seems to bite.
And that's turn 1, Greg, and that is our Stop Tech brake zone for this weekend. You fly down this straightaway, literally, and then it's hard on the brakes. You're throwing out the anchors here at St. Petersburg to try and get it slowed down. Very bumpy on the initial brake application. Change of surfaces, the white lines with the taxiway, very tricky indeed. I think for these GT3 cars, ABS may be your savior this weekend.
Technology is so important in the sport these days. Now let's take a look at our Porsche race analysis. 1.8 mile track. It is busy with 14 turns. We had 23 cars out for qualifying. Doesn't sound like a lot, but they struggled to find clear track time. At least some of them did. It'll play out in the race as well. But Cal, let's get to our Pirelli storylines. Obviously the big one is Long.
It really is, and even though he's on the grid today, the question mark is how far can he go through this field? driving around this racetrack by yourself, making passing attempts is really, really tricky. He's got to be patient. He has so much experience, though. Look for him to maybe look at top 10 as a goal for this race.
Absolutely, and he is in a Porsche, which are always very strong here. But, Cal, there must be some other strong horses for this course.
There is. The McLarens certainly showed well at Coda. They really weren't in a position for the victory. Parente got it to the front once, got that penalty, had to do a drive-through. Fogarty, a brilliant recovery in race 2 to get the podium. But I think here the McLarens with the downforce, really strong through the sweeping turns that we do have a couple of here, but particularly into the brake zones. They're going to be tough this weekend.
Now, when we say a car is stronger than another one here, it is relative, folks. The top 10, Cal, are covered by less than half a second.
It's amazing. So many marks at the front of this field, and no one knows what's going to happen here. It's going to be a thrilling race.
Absolutely, and just to give you an idea of how much closer, the top 3 folks covered by 78 one-thousandths of a second. With that, let's go down now and hear from our Motul GT Class Pole Award winner. That is Michael Lewis, who put in a scorcher of a lap. He's with Jeff.
Michael Lewis, our pole sitter today for the GT race. Michael, what a tremendous lap and a tremendous job by this crew as well.
It was a special lap. I mean, we got pulled by very, very little, so that's, showing the competition out here. And the Effort Racing crew just gave me a nice setup into quali. I'm sure if Patrick Long was out there, he would have been right up there too. But to get that first pole for this 41 Effort Racing crew, I mean, it's just, so special. And we'll get, rolling off into turn 1 for this race 1 and have a nice vision in turn 1. So nothing really to worry about, but awesome lap by the guys and to make it happen.
Fantastic lap for our GT pole sitter. In the GTA class, Martin Fuentes continuing his form after the sweep at Circuit of the Americas. In the Hublot Ferrari puts in a 1:13.708 second lap. And Motul GT Cup pole award goes for the 3rd straight race to Sloan Uri in the True Speed Porsche at a 1:16.643.
We had a good session. My team True Speed supplied me with a great car. I just had to, do my thing. Didn't have too much to worry about. One of my main competitors unfortunately damaged his car yesterday, so hopefully he can get back out in the race and give me a run for my money. But just happy to be here for my sponsors, Security National Mortgage and Evasys. Last year I came here, the first race got destroyed in the standing start, so I'm happy to be back and have the car in one piece for the first race. And I've got some good momentum coming from Coda. I think I've got my mojo back.
Well, speaking of the GT Cup class, Cal, you're going to note now, folks, when we have a start or a restart, those cars are going to be quite a bit behind the GT cars. It's a safety feature.
It really is. It creates a safety margin time-wise for any incident down in turn 1. I think that's a great way to really start the season. And again, both of these classes will run through our VP Fuels acceleration zone.
When we get a restart, if we do, we'll give you a bit more information on that. Right now, however, we want to check in with one of the strong long-term partners of the Pirelli World Challenge. Here's a bit more on Cadillac.
So we're with 4-time Pirelli World Challenge champion Johnny O'Connell with the Cadillac Racing ATS VR, and this beautiful red one back here is kind of the same color as your race car.
Yeah, it's very cool that when corporate embraces what's going on with the race team, and in order to celebrate the 4 championships that we won in Pirelli World Challenge, they decided to use this Velocity Red to congratulate us for everything that we've done. So that not only can you get this car in an ATS-V, but the ATS-VR number 3 car this year is going to be Velocity Red. A very nice thank you from everybody at Cadillac in recognition of what we're doing with the race team. There's a reason Cadillac is in racing, and it's to showcase the performance of all of their cars, but particularly the V Series. You have a 3.6 liter, twin turbo like in the ATS-V that's, 450 some odd horsepower, and just world-class athleticism. It makes sense to showcase that in racing, and there's a lot of pride in ownership. Every event we do Cadillac Corrals, and every year they're bigger and bigger and bigger, so everybody really enjoying the enthusiasm that is Cadillac.
Well, what a great partner, but what a great team. 4 championships in a row, 5 total, going for 6, don't count them out. Well, folks, we've set the stage. Now let's get down to the front of the grid where Jeff Lepper is standing by for that most famous command in motorsports.
Behalf of Optima Battery and Pirelli Tire North America and all the Cadillac dealers and customers worldwide, for the command to start engines to Christian Maxwell, a Cadillac racing enthusiast. Christian, would you give us the honor, please?
Drivers, start your engine!
What a great sound as this absolutely elite field of not just drivers but machinery springs to life as we are ready to go racing here for the 3rd round of the Pirelli World Challenge GT Championships here at the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. You take a look at that front row. Boy, what a story there. The young Charger, Mike Lewis, up-and-coming driver. The factory McLaren driver, Alvaro Parenti, alongside in that K-Pax McLaren. And watch for this, folks. There goes the Cadillac ATSV pace car as it makes its rollout. And boy, just an exciting sight as this field gets underway. A huge thanks to Cadillac with their great partnership, not just the title sponsor of this event, but providing this remarkable ATSV pace car and watching it head around the track, Cal. But boy, you know, we talked about at the top of the show how close this field is. Top 10, less than half a second. And the variety of the machinery in this is just fascinating, but it's going to be an amazing race on this track.
I'm really curious to see how this front row plays out. I mean, Michael Lewis's first overall pole position in World Challenge competition. He's got the veteran in terms of sports cars right alongside him, Alvaro Parenti. And I think Parenti's going to be aggressive, Greg, but think about the penalty that he got at Coda in round 2. That's going to play in the back of his mind, and you've got Johnny Red just sitting right behind them. Can he take advantage here on the opening lap?
Yeah, he's amazing on the opening laps usually. And I think somebody who's going to be effective here as this race unfolds. Talked to Andrew Davis, and he said the car, the platform on this track is fantastic. He said every session we're getting our heads around it a little bit more. I think he might be moving up.
Yeah, I mean, he was, they put in a nice performance at Coda. He was a little bit disappointed. He wanted to be top 6, and they got close to that. But I think that Phoenix Performance Group will learn this Porsche very, very quickly. It's a different animal to what they've been used to working with in the past.
Speaking of Porsches, there's Pat Long. Missed practice, missed qualifying, got a few laps in Michael's car in a practice session. But other than a hardship lap, this car crashed so heavily at Coda. This is the first time it's out.
Yes, and he won round 1, of course, at Coda. Had the incident with J.D. Davison at the start. No points for that race. And now he's starting deep in the pack. I think the main priority for Pat Long right now is to get a good, clear lap, lay down a fast lap. Remember, the fast laps in today's race set the grid for tomorrow, so that is his highest priority, I would think.
If he can set the fastest one, he gets 7 points, which after the miss in Coda, that's mega, isn't it? Well, folks, there's also a great look at the other side of our Cadillac partnership, the beautiful Cadillac Escalade safety vehicle that they provide as well. And with that, we're going to step away for a minute, but when we come back, we are going racing for round 3. Stay with us.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. And by the Cadillac V-Series, the first ever 455 horsepower 2016 ATS-V Coupe and Sedan, and the all-new 640 horsepower CTS-V Sedan. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Motul, official lubricant of the Pirelli World Challenge. And by Porsche. There is no substitute.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Field heading into that very tricky turn 10. We're going green this time. Before we do, let's take a look at our Kia Quad Box, courtesy of Replay XD, and these great camera shots that we have. Going to be enjoying those today. You see the lights out on the pace car, Cal. I think this is going to be a fantastic race.
This is going to be awesome. I mean, so many fascinating stories here. Austin Cindric on the second row of the grid in the second of the K-Pax McLarens. He said he had a fast lap going, but lost a 10th and a half in turn 1. He could have been sitting on that front row today.
Yeah, traffic was an issue in qualifying, but now you've got 50 minutes to sort it out. Pace car is in. Young Michael Lewis leading the field around from his first ever GT pole. Alvaro Parenti alongside. The field onto the long front straight. It is wide. Watch for that green flag. 50 minutes of racing will commence. When it launches, they're in the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone, and we are green. Boy, and Lewis timed that beautifully. Right down the middle of the track, Cal. Good defensive move. Davison going to try and ramp the outside. And Parenti, he got out wide. He got touched by O'Connell.
He did. He tried to squeeze Johnny O. There was a little bit of contact. They rubbed, but this has given Michael Lewis the break that he needed.
Boy, didn't it? That little bit of momentum, and Lewis has some breathing room at the front, and that Porsche's quick. Look at the action behind. Here comes Cindric trying to remake up a spot.
Yeah, he lost a position to Michael Cooper there. Now side by side between J.D. Davison and Cindric. That is tight there through turn 5.
Highcutter and Davis having a little bit of a touch. It was side to side. Think they got away with it, but that's what we're seeing. Davison around the outside of Cindric in the Nissan.
Look at the youngster Cindric. He's poking his nose in places it shouldn't be right now.
Trying anything to try and get back up to that 4th spot. That frustrates you, doesn't it? Yeah, a 4th place qualifying spot by the end of the lap. Here comes John Fogerty in the red dragging, attacking his fellow McLaren driver. Didn't get it done that time.
He didn't, but he's got a lot of confidence in that race car coming off the brilliant podium at Coda. He said he had a good lap going yesterday, got balked in traffic. There was some speed in that red dragon here today.
Yeah, they said they still haven't quite got their heads around getting that car just dialed perfectly for qualifying, but clearly it is a race car in the hands of John Fogerty. But look at the lead for Lewis.
Oh, this is huge. I mean, I think the fact that Johnny O and Parenti were duking it out there really gave Michael Lewis the break he needed. That has taken the pressure off a little bit. He can just pick his marks right now. Cindric really deep on the brakes there, dancing that middle pedal on the brakes.
Oh, and Ryan Eversley down inside of Fuentes. Fuentes is your GTA class leader in that black and white Hublot Under Armour Ferrari. And Eversley just able to sneak underneath, pick up an overall spot. And, yep, he made it stick. Oh, now here comes Marcelli trying to make a move on Fuentes.
Oh, that's going to be tight.
Touch too.
Yeah, that was really tight. Good drive by both of those guys to create enough room. Here comes Pat Long, a man on the move. Goes side by side with Marcelli through 6.
Boy, he's attacking, looking everywhere. He cannot afford to waste time.
Well, he's got to make up positions. He's also got to find a gap at some point during this race where he can lay down the potential of that race car in terms of speed and get that fast lap for the qualifying spot for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, it's kind of a tightrope for him, isn't it? He can't afford to just lay back and get a gap because he needs spots. But boy, if anybody can do it, Pat Long. Here's a look at the GT Cup, and Sloan Urie from his 3rd consecutive pole leads away. And Alec Udell, who started in the 4th spot, he missed most of the practice with a hit. Then he had a problem in the 2nd practice, missed qualifying while they fixed the car, but up to 2nd.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant performance here. Great recovery by Alec Udell. The crew really went to work on that race car. A lot of damage. Neville Lagasse was working hard on that car along with the whole crew. Chris Valley and Carl Ashcroft did a great job to get that car on the grid today.
Let's go back and take a look at the restart of Cup. Here they come. They start back, not restart, the original start. Urie, there is Corey Fergus on the outside, and I think Udell just, so close. And Fergus got trapped a little bit, didn't he?
He did, and Alec Udell, a brilliant job there of keeping it clean but getting the spot.
Now, though, he's got to try and chase down Sloan Urie. Udell winning the opening round of the championship with a great move in traffic. Urie getting that 2nd round. Remember, Udell here in the 1st race last year got caught up in that massive melee, missed the 2nd race, missed the next 2 rounds while they were trying to fix that car. And he feels he's got some unfinished business here and a great start to it here in Long right now. Boy, looks like he may have lost a spot to Fuentes.
Well, that's a bit of, we didn't expect to see that, but certainly Pat Long is trying now to see if he can get a little bit of a gap. I mean, he'll be working with his team, with his engineer, Stefan Pfeiffer. He's had so much success with Stefan over the years. All of his ALMS titles came with him on board as part of the White Lightning group, then Flying Lizard, of course. Here we see Eversley. He had a very bizarre qualifying session yesterday. Had a piece of debris, cut a tire down. He was coming to the pit lane, and suddenly he had no brake pedal and stuck it in the tire wall at low speed. So a bit of work for that crew last night. He has some pace in that Acura here. Of course, coming off a brilliant victory here last year.
Yeah, he's running very, very well. And again, that car now rear-wheel drive, so it's a different platform than they ran here last year, but it certainly looks quick.
Here comes Parenti. Parenti is hounding down Michael Lewis. That McLaren is coming alive.
He just uncorked a 113.7, the only guy into the 13s, and by a bunch on top of it here. We figured it wasn't going to take long. He was going to unleash an attack here. Johnny O laying back and watching Cooper now up into 4th in front of Davison.
Spoke to Michael Cooper yesterday. Very pleased with the start to his campaign. Obviously, 2 podium runs. I said, what's the difference right now? He said, I just think in the sessions, Johnny O can really relate to the crew a little bit quicker what the car is doing. We typically like to start the sessions with a bit of downforce in the cars, then trim them out for the race. He said, Johnny O's going to that setup a little bit quicker than I. I need to get the confidence in the race car, feel the car, and then take the downforce out.
Well, I'll tell you, that Porsche is good in a straight line. Obviously, it just gets such great launch with that engine overhanging those rear wheels.
And he's also really good through turn 1. When we were watching the other night, one of the practice sessions, Michael Lewis really carries a lot of speed through Apex. Now we see the 2 Cadillac going hard at it, running in the 3rd and 4th spot. J.D. Davison up to 5th.
There's Fuentes continuing to lead in GTA. Right behind him is Pat Long now, continuing his attack. And by the way, he did get the Optima batteries best standing start, Pat did, up 3 spots overall in that opening lap. It was just the best start, obviously. We don't do standing starts anymore in GT. I'm wondering, you know, in terms of his pace, that car, other than a hardship lap, really hasn't had any laps around here. It's, you know, a bit of a guess on setup. I'm sure they kind of mirrored Michael's.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pat drove Michael's car the other day, which was great for Pat, but also for Michael. Gives him really something to look at in terms of data as well. Exactly the same car. They kind of mirror the setups, I'm sure. They don't really have anything else to work from. It's a new car compared to last year. And talking to Stefan Pfeiffer, you have to drive this car a little bit differently. Last year's car, you literally buried it on the pedal all the way to apex. This car, you got to let off the brakes a little bit sooner, roll the car through the apex, and that's what Michael Lewis has been doing so well this weekend.
And speaking of doing so well, Sloan Uri easing away from Alec Udell. What a great drive he is putting in here, stretching that margin in that Evasis Security National Mortgage car, doing an absolutely great job. And by the way, Patrick Long has moved up now to 16th overall from the back of the field, right behind our 15th place driver, Martin Fuentes. And there is your leader, Michael Lewis, leading Alvaro Parenti in the McLaren and Johnny O'Connell in the Cadillac. Your top 3 overall in GT. We're going to step away for just a moment, but we will be right back with a lot more from the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. We are back at the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete. Michael Lewis, what a remarkable story for this young up-and-coming star in the effort racing Porsche, leading from pole. And then Alvaro Parenti, the very savvy factory McLaren driver, sitting in second. Right now, the official margin, less than a second. And then in third, Johnny O'Connell, another 2.5 seconds back, and the rest of the group. And having a look here where Pat Long, you see Long now has moved up a couple more spots. He is continuing his charge. Here's a look at Peter Cunningham, of course, is a huge champion here, and PD moving up as well, and he is our Eibach suspension cam car right now. And here's a look at that left front of that car, and boy, I'll tell you, around this track, they get used.
They do. There's certainly some bumps around this St. Petersburg circuit, but also very different in terms of the change of surface that you're going to see through here from blacktop to concrete. And just a real challenge for these crews to get this Eibach suspension set up just right around a street circuit.
Fun to watch those shots. Always fun to watch PD Cunningham race, no question about that. And there is the 41 of Lewis continuing. And not only, I mean, we saw Parenti make that charge, Cal. He got up within just a few car lengths, and Lewis has been able to drop the hammer and open that margin up a little bit again.
He was. It looked like Parenti's car came alive about 3 or 4 laps into this race, but Michael Lewis has certainly been up to the challenge. But right now, Pat Long has started to clear some of this traffic. I think if he can get by Marcelli here, did a nice job on Colin Thompson on the previous lap, going down in the brake zone for turn 4. Then he's got some clear space. Then he can try and lay down a lap that'll set the grid for tomorrow, because right now he's a couple of seconds off the fastest laps of the race. Very tight there, Marcelli doesn't want to give it to him. I think Pat will clear him on exit. Nice job there by both guys. Good, hard, clean race. You've got to respect one another on these street circuits.
Well, with Pat's charge up through the back, we've seen a couple passes like that where the people realize that he is coming through. They have opened that wheel up a little bit just to avoid the contact, and he's done an absolutely superb job. But it has come with some assist from the drivers that he's racing, and that is huge.
Yeah, and you're going to get that paid back to you. I mean, you have to respect when someone's had a problem like Pat Long and they have a faster car coming through. So, you know, Pat will repay that if he's ever in the same position. But right now, this is the opportunity. Stefan Pfeiffer will be on the radio saying, okay, Pat, clear track, go for it, lay down a lap right now.
Yeah, he just got around Long. That puts him now up into the 13th spot on his charge here as we're looking at Uri, who continues an absolutely brilliant drive here. And that Evasis on the side of the car, by the way, is a new software for construction management that he wrote. That's what he does in the off time, is his family's involved in construction, and he created a new software program that everybody is thinking is going to be pretty big in the construction industry. So he's a busy guy. And there is Alec Udell. So that's your margin, first to second. Alec to that Euro World Motorsports Panther Pipeline AmSource Capital car. And just right now doesn't quite have the pace. Missing an awful lot of track time couldn't have helped.
No, that's really going to hurt your ability to set up the car and fine-tune it. And Sloan Uri just come out of the box so strong this year. Tyler Tadovic and the whole True Speed gang have been right on their game this year. And they got Ryan Dial here once again doing a little bit of driver coaching with Sloan. But Alec Udell really comes into this championship season as the favorite. But he's got to be patient. He's got Neville Lagasse kind of working with him as his crew chief and on the radio just saying, just calm down, everything's cool, let's just get through this race, score a bundle of points, we'll tune on the car tonight and make it stronger tomorrow.
And that's the nice thing, you get a second opportunity here as long as you don't have a problem in the first race. We saw that in GTS last year. Spencer Pompelli came in, didn't know how to, really didn't have experience in those cars, used the tires up too much. The next day he solved that, figured it out, and it was a whole different story. And boy, what a good story is developing here. Now everybody was thinking, we know Michael Lewis is fast, no question about it. He didn't last long in GTA, leaps up into GT early going last year, but from his first pole, you know, the pressure and the like, what was going to happen, and he has been up to it thus far, and he's got one of the best in the business right there in Alvaro Parenti in that yellow and black K-Pax McLaren.
Quick update on Pat Long. He just laid down a lap at 1:14.2, so that's half a second off the pace of his teammate Michael Lewis, but still a pretty good lap. But there are just a couple of guys in the 13th, so it's going to be very tight for that grid tomorrow. He probably needs another 10th or two to get up onto the second or third row.
And what a great drive he's putting in, obviously, and I'm sure it's going to be a long, long day here once these guys get done into the evening now to tweak the car now that he knows what he's got for a package to get it ready for that second race.
And this is really the only clear lap that he's had to really identify what is the car given to me. He's been in traffic, so you haven't been able to get through the corners at the maximum speed and true potential of the car. So this next lap could be even faster. He'll have sort of like thought through that previous lap. Where did I lose a little bit? Where has the car got a bit more to give to me? And see if he can get out another 10th or two out of this race car.
So it's a 14.209. Let's see what he does this time. Out of 14, onto the front straight. Nobody holding him up at all. And what kind of time does he put in? On this one here, he comes across the line. Ooh, not quite as quick, actually. A bit of a surprise there.
14.3, so that may be the potential of the car. That's all he's got right now, but he's going to keep digging. These Pirellis last a little bit longer this year. They're a different compound. There's one that's running the Blancpain Endurance Championship versus, oh, look at this, the Bentley dancing on the pedal there. Palmer looking for a way through.
That's the battle right now for the 8th spot. Heikotter in the red and white Nissan has it, the black and yellow Porsche right there of Andrew Davis next, then the 87, the white and green Bentley of Palmer, then his teammate, the silver and green Bentley of Fong, and right behind them, the 43 Acura of Eversley.
Adley Fong loves these street circuits. The Bentley runs well on the street circuits. He related to the Macau event last year where the Bentleys were really strong. He said, I love the challenge, and he's learning all of these circuits for the first time, but here comes Pat Long. He's got a gaggle of cars in front of him. There's a bundle of points there that he can maybe grab before the end of this race.
Yeah, Adderley. And he said in Asia the tracks tend to be shorter, tighter, and he said that's where the Bentley really does seem to come alive. Maybe the aggressiveness you have to drive in the corners on a track like that gets heat into those tires a little bit better. This might be a flyer for Long here because he had that whole lap relatively unimpeded. See what he does at this stage. In terms of a lap, no, again, just a little bit off of that fast lap.
Yeah, he went 14.2, 14.3, 14.4. So at this stage, the tires are starting to heat up a little bit. Maybe they just misread in terms of the starting pressures, and they're basically peaked. That's all he's going to get. Now, if he said, okay, that's as fast as I can go, now he's just focused on race position. How many points can I grab by grabbing some positions ahead of me?
Well, he should be fun to watch when we come back to the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg here in this third round of the Pirelli World Challenge GT Championships. The leaders, Lewis and Parenti, opening that margin up, but they are getting into traffic. We're going to step away. It's going to get exciting when we come back.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites. And by Honda Performance Development, Honda's North American racing company.
Michael Lewis continues to stretch his margin over Alvaro Parenti here at the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. He has opened it up to over 4 seconds. What a great story for him. There is Alvaro Parenti, and then they are working through some of our GT Cup class traffic. They have cleared Alec Udell. Rest of the field coming up. Johnny O'Connell still third, Cooper fourth, J.D. Davison in the AER Now Nissan sits in the 5th spot. And as we watch them work through, there is O'Connell, there's his teammate Cooper, and Johnny O just does not have the pace right now, it seems, Cal, for those two up front. Smart man, he is looking at points.
Absolutely. He's laid down a 1:14.0 versus a 1:13.7 for our 2 leaders. So you're right, Greg. He's about 3/10 off the pace, but good podium runs will net him another championship. He's gone for 5 straight. See Pat Long here. He's got around Ryan Eversley, now working on Adley Fong.
And we're going to go back and take a look at the move he made on Eversley. Well, let's wait, because he might be attacking here on Fong. Nope, not quite there yet. And he's got to be careful, because Ryan Eversley might be just a little bit red misted here and ready to pounce if Long makes a mistake. And here's why. In the move, he came from a ways back.
Yeah, this is down into the brake zone into turn 4, and he was just a little bit too far back, and I think Ryan initially was trying to give him the lane there, and then it just happened so late. Ryan had to turn into the corner. There was contact there, and a little bit of bodywork flew. Now we see Pat Long has got around Adley Fong. He's working on Preston Calvert to clear that traffic. Eversley down to the inside. Can he get inside the Bentley? He does. Side by side off of turn 1.
Oh, can he make it stick? Bentley's not just going to give it up, and Eversley has to give. There's just no room there to run side by side. But boy, Ryan Eversley is showing what this guy is about. He won here after a great qualifying run in the all-wheel drive car in the wet. Came back and led, and not by just holding the field up. He was fast. But now that car converted to rear-wheel drive. It's a different platform. It's not a GT3 homologated car, so it's a bit different. But Ryan just gets up on the wheel, doesn't he?
He does, and he's been working really hard. He's got a new engineer this year. He's really been focused on the traction control systems on the Acura, while Petey Cunningham has really been working on the brake system so they can work together as a 2-car team. Look at the rear wing has collapsed on J.D. Davidson's car. Look at the back end of that Nissan right now. He has got a major issue. You see him twitch there. He's not got the downforce. That is a huge problem.
Yeah, he had been running up into the 5th spot. He's into the pits. And remember, he was one of the guys that came in relatively well placed in the points, up in 6th, and had shown some great speed. That now advances Austin Cindric back up into 5th.
I don't see any other damage to the car. Not sure whether it just collapsed due to the bumps around this race circuit. It's in pit lane. Fogarty moves up a spot.
Here's a look at it.
Just got close to one of the walls and just clipped the rear wing end plate and bent down.
Yeah, let's check in with Jeff down in pit lane.
Always evolving crew, hard at work on J.D. Davidson's Nissan GTR. Damage to the rear wing. They're in the mix of either taking it off and letting him get back out there, or replacing it. They'll get it replaced and he'll get back underway.
Tough day here for Davison. John Fogarty is up into 6th. Boy, I'll tell you, when the green flag drops on a race session, the Red Dragon and John Fogarty are magic, but of course everybody else advances. Heitkotter will now be 7th, Andrew Davis 8th, Palmer 9th, and that puts Long into the top 10. That was huge in terms of points.
Yeah, and we said that would be his goal today. It's come in a strange set of circumstances. He's had to battle hard, and I tell you what, he'd probably want that move over again on Ryan Eversley. He really came for a little bit too deep in terms of making that move. If he'd turned Ryan away, that would have been a penalty, and that would have been a big problem for Pat Long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can understand him feeling a bit desperate, trying to do something, but that one at least, you know, just loosened Ryan up a little bit, as you said, didn't spin him, and everything seems to be okay here. Question is, how's Ryan's car at this point? But it doesn't look like it's hurt it, because he's still right there on Adderley.
Now, he's run a nice lap here today. I think Ryan Eversley should be up in maybe the top 3 rows of the grid for tomorrow's event based on fast laps here today. So that'll really give him a chance to smell the front of this field once again.
Oh, look at this move, showing the nose. That car, pretty good brakes, but not good enough to come from quite that far back.
They got a little bit of their boost given back to them since the last round of Dakota. Here comes his teammate, Petey Cunningham, down to the inside of Martin Fuentes. Fuentes has been sensational this year. Swept both GTA class wins at Coda. Going for another one here. Tight quarters there, though. He's got a veteran to his inside. Trying to play nice.
That's how you do that. Look at that.
Look at Endy. He's got to run up. He's going to get inside of Fuentes down into the brake zone for 4. They just slowed each other up massively through turns 2 and 3.
That shows you can do it when you got 2 great drivers who are willing to give each other a little bit of respect in racing room, but it definitely, as you said, hurt their momentum. But boy, we're seeing some great stuff out of Martin Fuentes here, that GTA driver, and not just speed, but smart driving.
Yeah, he's learned a lot. I mean, last year he said, I'm coming to the race circuits for the very first time. He wasn't fit like he needed to be. He had an injury, so he couldn't work out like he wanted to. He's really refocused this year. So we see Davidson's out there, but with no rear wing, he's going to be in everyone's way right now. Yeah, getting back to Fuentes, I mean, he's just super focused. He's got a really good group there at Scuderia Corsa. And he's going to really give Frankie Montecalvo a run for this GTA Championship this year. Obviously, Frankie had a huge run last year, really dominated that class, but different story for 2016.
Yeah, Fuentes coming in that last year had no experience with ABS, TC, any of that sort of thing. So it was a huge learning curve. For Michael Lewis, the learning curve is flattening out, I think. This guy, what a race he's put on. 6 seconds to the clear over Alvaro Parenzi here at the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete. Huge battle erupting here for 10th at the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Ryan Eversley sweeps the outside of the Bentley of Andrew Palmer. These two guys have been going at it for a couple of laps while we were in break. Absolutely stunning stuff. And again, Eversley can't get through. And Eversley has been brilliant today in a couple of different scenarios. First of all, he had a pass for position where he used traffic, Cal, to absolute perfection.
This is coming down into the brake zone for turn 4. We're looking at Adley Fong then, the 88 Bentley. He gets held up a little bit by Alec Udell. Watch Ryan Eversley pass. He's feeling the heat from Marcelli behind. Slides it to the inside in turn 5, up over the curb. Then a little bit later in the race, he turns Andrew Palmer, spins him out, coming off of turn 1. Just a little bit later in the lap, he just waved him by, and the stewards will like that.
Yeah, just pointed him through and then said, now I'm going to resume the attack, and he is doing just that again as they come out of turn 10. Difficult to pass into this chicane, but he has been able to get tremendous runs, Cal, down into 1. And the problem is he's just always parked on the outside.
Yeah, he's tried every which way. You saw him turn Andrew Palmer, then he got side by side. Couldn't quite make it stick. Oh, Palmer into the fence. Did he get any damage into that left rear corner of the Bentley? Eversley will try and pounce. He's got the inside. He should be able to make it stick down into our stop tech brake zone.
Yeah, Palmer literally scrubbed off speed up against that wall. You can see the white, there's a bit of white on that left rear tire right now, so it got over there a bit. And Eversley is through and coming up very quickly now. Palmer's got to deal with Colin Thompson and Kyle Marcelli.
He does. That battle was really fierce, and they were losing a lot of lap time. Has allowed Thompson and Marcelli to really close in on this group. So I think the balance may have gone away on the Bentley a little bit for Andrew Palmer. Eversley, great job there though in clearing him. That was a real chess match there for 3 or 4 laps.
Boy, it sure was. And I think Mr. Thompson may have kissed the wall there. Look at the white marks on that rim. So that's the nature of close quarters racing here.
It is. He did the same thing in qualifying, unfortunately. Cost himself a little bit of time, and hence he was buried in the middle of the pack versus his teammates who are on the front of the grid. But this is just a learning process for our GT Cup champion from last year. Had a great top 5 run at Coda. He expects a lot more. This is a young man, very determined, and expects to be on the podium every weekend. Yeah,
he's just won nothing but championships the last couple of years, and got him up into the big show, as they say. There's Pat Long, who has now worked his way into the 7th spot, Cal. So a good run. Problem is he's about 5 seconds back of 6, which is John Fogarty.
Yeah, this is probably about as far as Pat Long can go unless one of the other guys in front of him hit trouble, but still a brilliant run to use a lot of patience. I thought maybe he pushed the envelope a little bit too far on Ryan Eversley, but he got away with it, fortunately. Yeah. If he'd turned Ryan Eversley, it could have been a trip down pit lane for him. Look at this, Thompson and Palmer side by side. Thompson so wide in the dust.
Ooh, man, you can see the rooster tail of Marcelli taking advantage of those two guys side by side, but not quite deep enough into that turn. Can Thompson get a run? Not quite.
What a job by Andrew Palmer in terms of hanging on to this Bentley here. It's obviously not gripping the way he'd like to. Thompson looks to the inside on Marcelli.
You want to be opportunistic, but you've got to be careful. 1, you don't want a penalty. 2, you don't want to damage your car with another race coming up the next round of the doubleheaders. But what a show these guys are putting on.
And coming off of turn 9, there's a very big crowd in the road that you've got to be careful. Thompson using all of the road. He looks to the inside. He's not close enough on Marcelli once again.
Boy, you know, that tight entry that he used, it didn't hurt him on the exit at all, did it? He's still right with Marcelli here through the quick chicane into the final turn, 14. Ooh, way wide goes Palmer.
Yeah, that car is really hurting, I think, in terms of its grip and ability to get through this street circuit right now. Palmer washed up really high there, understeering wide. You want to diamond that corner off a little bit. Maybe that he's working on, just trying to find the new line that will work for his race car with the grip he has. Thompson deep on the brakes. ABS kicking in, I'm sure. He tries to look for a way by Marcelli once again.
Yeah, you love that ABS until you get into it a little too hard, don't you?
Yeah, then it just kind of goes dead. The system is taken over from you. You really can't get the car turned, so you got to be careful if you do commit down to the inside, particularly with the bumps on a street circuit. You can activate the ABS system, suddenly you have a huge problem.
All right, as this battle continues, of course, we're going to move up a little bit. This is third and fourth, the two Cadillacs, the red number 3 of O'Connell, the black number 8 of Michael Cooper, and behind them you see that blue-hued black K-Pax McLaren of Austin Cindric. But Johnny O'Connell, these two guys came into this weekend, Cal, 1-2 in the points, separated by a scant 2, and again, earning some very valuable points.
They are, and that's certainly not going to go away in terms of the championship lead when they continue to run like this. And this is where the experience kicks in with Johnny O'Connell. He's won this championship 4 times in a row. He knows what it's take, and he's never come out of the box stronger on a championship year than he has in 2016.
And for Michael Lewis, the margin now up to over 9 seconds as he got so close to the wall. He's clearly not backing off. He's in the zone, and we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by McLaren GT, manufacturers of championship-winning GT cars. By Replay XD, life's in HD, replay it. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by BRM. And by Audi, truth in engineering. Visit AudiUSA.com or schedule a test drive today.
Welcome back, everybody. Drama building in the back of the pack. Colin Thompson had just moved up into 12th, got around Andrew Palmer in the Bentley, and suddenly a big boom of smoke. We noticed that big mark on that one rear tire. I think he may have damaged that tire, and it looked like it may have gone down. So Colin Thompson had a great charge going, Cal. Looks like he's going to be ducking into the pits.
Yeah, and these long green flag runs are certainly taking their toll on these race cars right now. You see Adley Fong there get a little twisted and sideways there coming off the critical turn 14. It allows P.D. Cunningham to get a run on him. This is another great battle. Acura versus Bentley. It seems to have been the story of the day.
Boy, and P.D. wanted to over-under there, and Adderley sensed it coming and kept it tighter than P.D. expected. He had to check up just a little bit. Now he's just going to try and straight line. A lot of cars going over that bump and everything. Now let's go back and see, Cal, if we can find out what happened with Colin Thompson, perhaps.
Well, he's been using every inch of the racetrack. There you see him fighting. The tire's already down. He's just fighting that through that fast left-hand sweeper. You don't want a problem with the right rear corner through that corner of the racetrack. That was a great job. You can see him fighting on the wheel, just keeping it off the wall.
Yeah, great save, but a great run now.
That's talent, man. When you see him fight that, and great job by Colin Thompson.
Yeah, you get kind of busy at that point on the wheel, don't you? Oh, this battle has just been superb. Watching these guys here, and then there's Fuentes just leading in GTA, tucked right into a great spot, earning huge points for Martin.
Duncan Endy having a nice solid run here for Kevin Butler's group.
That Merchant Services, that's that beautiful, I think it's pretty astounding car out there, that V12 Aston Martin. And there is Sloan Urie, who has just controlled GT Cup, Cal, and a pretty handy margin he's got right now over Alec Udell. He's just been brilliant when he's been in traffic and been fast when he's been clear.
Preston Calvert having an excellent run in the 3rd spot, the number 77 Phoenix Performance Porsche as well. Well done to him. That is a great run on the street circuit.
Yeah, boy, here we go back to this scrum here, and we're looking at Adderley Fong. That's that sort of gunmetal, if you will. Bentley with P.D. Cunningham right on his 6th, then the blue Aston Martin of Endy, and right behind him, GTA leader Martin Fuentes at this point, which has Martin up into a 16th overall right now. We anticipate white flag for our leaders next time by. P.D. getting a run on Fong, not enough.
Adley had that big crash in practice at COTA. They had to work really hard to get the car on the grid for race 1, and they flew over their 3rd chassis, but didn't put into play this brand new chassis sitting there in the paddock. But it's like, oh, this is a street circuit. We'll save it for another day.
Just incredible, this race that we've seen unfold, and getting a little bit of a warning from race control on Adderley Fong for blocking. Boy, and Lewis now really diamonding that corner. He's got a huge margin, so I wonder what's causing him to do that. What's his mindset, do you think? Is PD's going to make the move on Fong as the white flag comes out?
Yeah, I think looking at Michael Lewis, our leader's line through there, I think the rear tires are probably going away a little bit on that Porsche. He's just trying to straight line it coming off, get the steering input out of the car so you can get the traction and power down on the front straightaway. So again, you know, he's just learning the tools, learning the tricks of the trade there in terms of what the car will give him, what the tire will give him at the end of a 50-minute run, and adjusting his line accordingly. Scott Dixon does it all of the time, talking to Mike Hull in IndyCar racing, and this is what these young boys are now learning to do.
And with the line he's taking out, that's just not diamonding the corner, that's hope diamonding the corner. That is a big,
what
big
a day
arc
for him, though.
Oh, isn't it? What a great story. You know, it comes out of, goes to Europe, tries to do some open wheel racing, comes back, decides to try sports cars, gets an opportunity with the Porsche Academy, gives him a break, ends up in the GT3 Cup, shines there, ends up making the move over to World Challenge. Last year starts in GT with the young driver program along with Effort Racing. Last, 2 events in GTA. Was so fast he's in GT. And now, a year later, out of the final turn from pole, Michael Lewis takes the 41 Effort Porsche to his first overall GT win in Pirelli World Challenge competition. His star is on the rise, Cal.
Superb run by Michael Lewis. Did everything spot on. Alvaro Parenti comes home in the second spot. Caddy's another strong runner. Cooper's looking at his team leader.
You think Johnny radioed and said, "You want a photo?" No, and there's Sloan Urie. Boy, getting his second win of 3 starts this season from his third pole. He really is showing that he is going to be a player. I think there's no question Udell came in as the favorite. Let's not forget, last year Urie had 13 podiums, was second in those GT Cup points. Yes, Udell missed a couple of races, but Urie's quick, and he's got a great team with True Speed.
Coming in here with 0 career victories. He's now got 3 on the board.
Yeah,
pretty
not too
cool.
bad, huh? Pretty good deal indeed. And there's, look at Parenti coming up, looking over, going, who is this guy? It's impressive stuff. And Martin Fuentes now 3 for 3 in GTA this year. Just having a fabulous year.
Yeah, he's looked really rock solid this year. Right up in the mix with all of the hot shots in GT class. I mean, this is a superb run by him, the Scuderia Corsa team once again. Their 3rd win of the championship season. Just got to get it to the line.
Here it comes. There is the checker flag for Martin Fuentes. So all of our class leaders now have come through. So as the cars are on their cool down lap, we're going to cool down as well. Step away for a moment here from the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg as Michael Lewis celebrates. We'll be right back. Welcome back to what has been a fascinating Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Up front, though, it was controlled by the young, up-and-coming star, Michael Lewis in the Effort Porsche. Deservedly, he is with Jeff Lepper.
Well, Michael Lewis, from pole to #1, your first win as a full-fledged GT driver. Congratulations.
It's such a nice feeling. I mean, from pole position yesterday, that's a mega thing to do. And then just outright drive away from everybody. That's what you want as a driver. In the beginning, Parenti was hounding me pretty good. And I just said, okay, he's quick right now, but just keep to your lines. And same with my engineer, they told me that too. So big thank you to Effort Racing, Smile Generation, Curb Records, everyone, Cometic Gasket, ASC, just for bringing us here. And it's so special to get these guys their first win for the 41 this year.
All right, thanks, gentlemen, and what a run by Mike Lewis. But now, Cal, let's take a look at our Cadillac move of the race. It was a beauty by Ryan Eversley.
We saw great battles all day long, but this was a superb move by Ryan Eversley, taking advantage of traffic, making that move to the inside of Turn 5, inside of Adderley Fong.
Just fantastic. Now, let's look in on our winner in GT Cup for the 2nd time in 3 races. It's Sloan Urie, and he's with Jeff.
Well, congratulations to Sloan Urie. A lot of guests here this weekend for St. Pete. You make it 2 wins on the season.
Yeah, Security National showed up as usual with a bunch of guests, so I'm happy to give a win for them. Just put my head down and charged, and it came out with the win just as expected.
Now tell us about the crew, the work they had to do to get you out here today.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually pretty incredible how quick the car was immediately. My mechanics and my engineer, Tim Lewis, it was kind of blew me away how good it was for a street course first session. So I knew we had the car for the weekend. I just needed to drive smart. Made one stupid mistake in the race, but luckily I had a big enough gap that I could keep it going.
What a season he is putting together. Now, Cal, take a look at our key at turning point. I think it's an ironic one, Pat Long not turning Eversley.
Yeah, I mean, he came from a long way back, got to the inside, there was contact, and if he had turned him around, that would have been a different day for Pat Long. He got away with one there.
Yeah, big penalty and loss of points. Didn't happen. Good deal. Our VP Racing Fuels Hard Charger Award, hardly a surprise here. Pat Long moving up 12 spots overall during the course of that race. And now for our Motul Fast Lap Awards. Remember, the fast laps mean pole for the next round of the championship. And of course, it goes to Mike Lewis, a sparklingly quick 1:13.762. In GTA, Martin Fuentes at a 1:15.019, but only 26 1/1000ths clear of Frankie Montecalvo. And in GT Cup, once again, Sloan Urie will start from his fourth pole, turning a 1:16.941 second lap. So that concludes round 3 of the championship. Folks, when we come back to the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, we'll have the coverage and our call of round 4.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Eibach, the world leader in high-performance suspension, by Bentley Motors, and by AFE Power, advanced engineering, proven performance. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by VP Racing Fuels. Our passion is your performance. And by Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Now time for the 4th round of the Pirelli World Challenge GT Championships here at the amazing circuit that runs around Albert Whitted Airport and the downtown marina area. And as we are setting up for the 4th round, the second of the doubleheader races, that means the pole was set by the fastest laps in race 3. And overall, and in GT, that Motu Pole Award goes to the winner, number 41, Michael Lewis, with a very quick 1:13.762 second lap. And a little bit earlier, Jeff Lepper checked in with him.
So Michael Lewis, you're able to get pole again. You got the race win yesterday. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, pole position for race 1. Race 1 victory leading all laps was pretty incredible. We get the front row again, pole position for race 2, and it's such a pleasure to go into that first turn with clear vision. It's such a big difference here on a street course, and yeah, let's try to make it happen again. You know, green to checkered. It's going to be a hard race. I mean, this guy behind me is quite quick, and so is the rest of the field. So we'll try to get this Porsche 911 GT3R up front and make it happen one more time.
We'll see if Michael Lewis can double up here at the world's fastest spring break.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Now let's take a look at our Motul GTA category pole award winner. It was yesterday's winner, the 07 of Martin Fuentes in the Hublot Ferrari at a 1:15.019 second lap. And our Motul pole winner for the GT Cup category, also a winner from yesterday, the number 20 of Sloan Urie in the Security National Mortgage Porsche at a 1:16.941 second lap. Now, obviously, there have been some updates since that 3rd round yesterday. For more on that, let's check in with Jeff.
2 developing stories after race number 1 today as Alec Udell wakes up this morning, has a really bad migraine, 102 temperature. He's been getting fluids all day, trying to rest as much as he can. His engineer Neville said that he'd made all the changes to the car. They're not sure how they're going to do. James Davidson knocked the wing off the car in yesterday's race. They had to retire the car. He did complete half the laps, gets the points, did qualify 4th. They're really fighting rear tire degrading. He's going to be strong today, but will he have anything at the end?
Well, thanks, Jeff. And folks, I'll tell you, the video from that replay of that incident with the wing from J.D. Davis and Cal was amazingly compelling. Here's another look at it on these Replay XD cameras.
Well, it really just showcases the unique nature of a street circuit here at St. Petersburg as J.D. Davison comes on at the front straightaway, gets a little bit sideways. The rear wing clears the concrete wall there and catches the catch fencing, and then the pole and just twists that rear wing, and he has to force him into a pit stop and further down the order. Not a great day for J.D.
Lights out on the pace car. Round 4 of the Pirelli World Challenge GT Championships from the St. Petersburg Street Course about to commence. And Cal, one of the things when we were talking to the McLaren team, to Capex, Alvaro Parente said, I need a great start today. That's our only shot.
They're concerned about the straightaway speed of that McLaren and that big run down in stop, take brake zone. He needs a good start, otherwise he may have to try and push it around the outside like he did yesterday.
He did say our car is really good under braking in the high-speed braking areas. That's turn 1, but it all is going to be decided right now. They are looking at the flagman. They are waiting for the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. Once they enter it, at any point, that flag can fly, and we will be racing 50 minutes, and we're green. Huge pop by Davison to the outside.
Look at Pat Long to the inside. He's inside of Johnny O'Connell. He could be up in the top 4 as they get into the brake zone.
He's there if it holds. But a nice move by Eversley, who had a tremendous race and turned a very quick lap in the Acura. He's right in the mix now as well, Cal.
Yeah, we saw Long and Eversley have contact yesterday. Almost the same thing there in turn 2. O'Connell has been dumped way down the order.
Boy, a huge slip for him. There's Long again. Oh, big wiggle by Alvaro. He saves it. And a big move by Cooper down the inside of Eversley.
Yeah, you can see Parente there really on the brakes hard and just skipped the rear end there as he turned in those Pirelli P0s. Not quite up to temp yet. Brilliant start here though, nice and clean.
Yeah, it's overcast today, folks, but it's warm, so it's not like it's a cold track at this stage. We've had lots of activity on it beforehand, but of course, Cal, that means different rubber compounds down that these guys have to really be careful with, don't they?
Yeah, and that's a big question for the drivers before the race. I spoke to Johnny O'Connell. He said we're still unsure whether to run sticker tires or a little bit of scrub on a set. Obviously, with the IndyCar race here just finishing, very different racing surface to run on here today for the second race of the weekend for these guys.
But as we saw yesterday, Michael Lewis leads away, opens up a little bit of a margin early, but great start by J.D. Davison. And that car we know has pretty good straight line speed, but it isn't a great street fighter, is it?
Well, it's got all the way up front with that front engine Nissan, and the big concern is rear tire degradation over the longer run. So Parente starting to put the heat a little bit on J.D. Davison now. And again, Michael Lewis has established a nice cushion at the front. He can just hit his marks like he did yesterday, Greg, and execute the race to perfection.
Boy, did you see both of the Cadillacs coming through turn 3, stepping the back end out just a little bit here. And again, that's just a function of the tires not quite there in terms of heat and pressure.
Eversley there looking at the inside. That's where he pulled the move of the race yesterday. Pat Long, I think he's still trying to get to grips with his car. Obviously, the documentation and what his weekend has been like has been unbelievable. Didn't get any practice or qualifying laps in. And then, oh, huge crash! Ooh. Huge moment there.
That was Corey Fergus.
Don't know if he clipped the inside wall or not, but just massive impact there on the exit of turn 3.
Wow, you can see the damage particularly to that left front corner, but the whole car has obviously been gathered up in this one.
I don't know whether he'd maybe clipped a wall and broke a steering arm, but he just shot straight across the racetrack, hard into that outside wall.
And we are obviously under a full course caution called immediately here. And after a really, I think, incredibly impressive run in the race yesterday, Cal, in round 3, green the entire way, have an early caution in this one.
Seemed like he was a few car lengths back from the group in front, just on that quick camera shot that we got there.
Yeah, that was a huge hit to be sure, as the field now working its way through this portion of the track. And believe me, we, our camera people right now, we are scanning any shots to see if we've got something for you folks. It just happened so suddenly and surprisingly. Interestingly, talking about the yellow scenario, the Bentley team, Bentley Team Absolute, they said based on last year, they'd set their cars up anticipating a caution in yesterday's race. They said it went green. We were way too aggressive in the setup. Here it is. You're not going to see a lot of it, but we'll see what we can find here.
Yeah, I think he made contact there with the inside wall, Greg.
Yeah.
You could just see a little bump there. I think maybe just brushed the wall possibly on the right side, and that just sent him careening across to the outside walls. Very fast coming onto that straightaway section there.
Well, you can see that K-rail just to the left of the screen there. It normally follows that yellow line, and that's an actual access point for EV vehicles, emergency vehicles. You can see he moved it a bunch. So, yeah, that was a serious impact. So, while we are under caution very early here in this 4th round of the championship, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we will be back with you in just a minute. Welcome back to the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, 4th round of the Pirelli World Challenge GT Championships. We continue under caution after that big hit by Corey Ferguson, the Buyers Porsche and US LED Porsche. And we continue under caution. Just some damage to the wall. They obviously have to fix at this point. So while we are under caution here, we do want to give you another look at it here. And Cal, it was a big hit, and it looked like he just kissed that inside wall.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this camera angle, but there's a big bump there at turn 3 as well, which can unsettle the car. But it looks to me he may be ricochets off that inside wall and hard into the outside wall, just destroying his Porsche.
Yeah, it was a massive hit, and obviously it's going to be taking a little bit for the cleanup. It was a very solid contact. You could see it did move that wall substantially. So obviously, great concern at this point. So getting the things cleaned up over in that area is the biggest concern, and the bigger concern is the wall itself. As there you can see the car is now up on the back of the rollback and is being brought in, and so we're close to having that cleaned up. It's just getting the wall back in place is necessary. So Cal, let's look ahead a little bit in terms of the restart when it happens. This now changes the whole dynamic of the race, and I can't help but think about the Bentley guys who may have said, "Now we're going to set the cars up today for a full green,"
long run.
And now it goes the complete other way.
Yeah, a lot more cloud cover too. There's rain not that far away, but it should just miss us here before we see the after we see the checkered flag here tonight. JD Davison, I mean, we know the power of that Nissan. We've seen it throughout the first 3 rounds of this championship, and he got a great start. And he will be looking for a way by Michael Lewis. He realized he dug a little bit of a hole in the points with the problems yesterday with his rear wing issue, and he needs to rebound as best he can here. So we'll be looking for the big points.
And in the GT Cup category, I mean, we talked to the story. Jeff gave us the update on Alec Udell waking up and feeling really, really bad today. But I think adrenaline and a good car, and we've been hearing reports that the team says the problems they had, which was the car was just very pushy. They threw a completely different setup on the car and put some more camber in and the like, and they think we got a car today.
Yeah, they're working on it hard. I mean, there's no give up in that GMG group. I think the biggest headache for Alec Udell right now is the pace of Sloan Uri this season.
Absolutely, but remember, Alec did win that first race. And so, I mean, this was an interesting opportunity for him with a little bit light field in the GT Cup here to have the issues he's had, still able to come up with some very useful points.
Yeah, and that's the key. I mean, I spoke to Neville Lagasse last night on the way out of the circuit, and he said, we've worked on a setup that doesn't seem to be really responding to the circuit right now. We've gone back on our setups and just gambled a little bit. He said there's not too much to lose. We just need to see if we can click on the right setup and try and get in front of Sloan today.
Yeah, and as you can see, we've still got lots of the cleanup vehicles on track, including that big machine that's what they use to move those walls. There you can see the issue. It's the gap in the wall there. That's the concern. So if they can flatten that out and just pivot it a little bit and make sure that does not have a leading edge where the front edge of that last piece is in front of the other one, that's obviously not a good scenario. So as soon as we get that done, we can go back to racing, but it's going to be a few more minutes for sure.
And this is going to turn into an absolute sprint here. We're approaching the halfway mark in this 50-minute race, and all of the teams will be communicating with their drives in terms of exactly what's going on. Think about what you're going to do here on this restart. The restart will be critical here, and you hate to see it after an incident like this. We're under caution, but these guys are going to be super aggressive on this opening lap of the restart.
And yeah, as you said, they absolutely have to, for the simple reason that there's no race time left.
No, I mean,
we go back to it.
That's right. You can't just settle in and hope for the race to come to you. It's go time. The go time is as soon as we see that green flag once again.
And as the current order runs, I mean, a great rebound by Davison after the issues. But I think for Alvaro in the McLaren, this is exactly what you were talking about. But how about Long, sitting there in 4th, came from dead last to 7th yesterday, and a just mega start today.
Yeah, I think you're going to look at 2 things here. Can Davison get around our leader, currently Michael Lewis, and can Pat Long get around Alvaro Parente here on this restart?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a look at Pat Long. We were just talking about him. And with that start he put together, he is our Optima Batteries Best Start Award winner, up 3 spots overall in that opening lap. And then, of course, we had the caution, and that's where it sort of locked in. So good run for him and his young teammate out front before the caution happened. He was kind of mimicking what he did yesterday a little bit.
And it was a superb, polished performance by the youngster. And everyone's looked at his abilities over the last few seasons. Everything he runs in, he runs at the front, and learned the ropes last year. And the team was just super pumped yesterday for him to get his first overall win.
Here's a look at the Cup start, and look at Alec Udell right away. He was sitting outside of Uri when they came by, but boy, they were very close going in. Fergus locking up just a little bit. And Preston Calvert, boy, he has been racy this weekend.
He really has been super racy. A podium yesterday was great.
Yeah, absolutely. His first pro podium in the Pirelli World Challenge anyway. Just an absolutely great day for Preston Calvert. And I think that GT Cup battle, once we go back to green, is going to be pretty fierce as well. But still under caution, so we're going to step away for just a minute. Hopefully we'll be green when we come back here to St. Pete.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Ferrari. By the Bob Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, official driving school of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. And by Mercedes-Benz AMG.
Welcome back to the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by Cadillac. And we are anticipating green next time by, so we hope to see the lights go out on that Cadillac ATS-V pace car. And they got that wall moved and in the right position, so hopefully we will be going after it here. Obviously, we've lost a bit of time after an absolute green flag race entirely in round 3 yesterday. This one has this long caution, but you always have to look at safety and making sure the repair to the track is right. So, Cal, let's go back and take a look at the original start.
Well, 2 big movers. Watch for J.D. Davison. He sits in the 4th spot on the grid. Screen right on the 2nd row in that green and black Nissan. And what for Pat Long as well, when we get the green flag, he jumps out immediately alongside Austin Cindric. The Nissan power takes over, he gets by the McLaren, and Johnny O'Connell is swamped in the middle of this pack here, and he drops a bundle of positions here as they exit turn 1.
Yeah, John Fogarty trying to get down. Did they? No, I don't think they touched. That was close quarters racing. Oh, a touch between Fogarty and Cindric, though.
There was. It's really tight through there, particularly when the cars don't have full grip from their Pirelli P0s. Everyone on their toes.
Absolutely. And here we go. Lights are going out on the pace car, and we will be going green this time by. This is that very quick high-speed kink as this runs down Beach Street right along the marina.
Key for Michael Lewis right now is to get these cars at a speed where he's right in the sweet spot with the torque of the gear that he's going to take off on this VP acceleration zone. Don't be bogged down, just get it to a number that you're happy with, control the field so when you hit that gas pedal, you've immediately got full acceleration.
And of course, for JD, it's all about anticipation, isn't it? Trying to get that run and put it together here. So pace car will be coming in, and we are going green with about 22 minutes remaining. So still time to do some serious racing here on the streets of St. Pete. Watch for that flag to fly. Boy, late, here we go. We're racing again, and boy, I think Lewis read that beautifully, Cal.
He did. Nice job there, and Parente looks to the inside, trying to block any move by Pat Long. He's deep on the brakes in that McLaren. Side by side, Pat Long pushes the issue. Can he squeeze through? Yes, he does. What a move.
And Eversley again, also a great restart as well. Look to be moving up a couple of spots. Oh, what a run by Johnny.
Wow.
And now everybody doing that big feint. The excuse is there's a bump there, but in fact, it's a dissuasive move. And look at Cooper trying to get around Parente as well as Calvert has spun it.
Yeah, and I think what happened there, Parente was just slow through turn 2, and Johnny O'Connell had the momentum and just swept by as they exited turn 3.
And brought Cooper right along with him. So the caddies suddenly find themselves right back in it, 5th and 6th.
Well, that's the experience coming into play there of a 4-time champion, Johnny O'Connell. He timed that to perfection, read the move. Look at Palmer there looking to the inside into the brake zone, down into turn 10.
Actually, they'd be 4th and 5th, wouldn't they? Those 2 Cadillacs at this point. Through the chicane, very high-speed section of track.
Eversley there. He showed tremendous pace yesterday. 6th fastest race lap, right in the mix.
And extremely racy, just some great moves in traffic. Calvert has long cleared 1, so we stay green. And that lead duo is tracking away just a little bit. Of course, part of it was that side-by-side action slowed up Long and the rest.
Eversley looks to the inside of the McLaren. Not quite close enough. 3 McLarens there running. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the pack. You got Cindric there in the Blight Brewing machine. Then there's Colin Thompson. He's had a good start. Then the Red Dragon of John Fogarty. Currently 6th in the Driver Championship points.
And he wanted to move up, and I mean, he was up by O'Connell, but he got squeezed badly on that start and restart and slipped back a little bit here. That's a car that they really like. What they have is a race car, don't they?
They really do, and the biggest concern they've been having here on the street circuit is the brake cooling. Spoke to Terry Wilbert, their crew chief, last night. He said John's not real happy with the brake. We're just plowing through brake pads like you can't believe. They'd like to run a bit more cooling, but the rules do not allow you to make that change, so they just got to live with it and see if when they get to the other circuits, if it calms down a little bit.
And as we watch this race unfold, I want to remind you, if you want to watch and discover what's going on with the Pirelli World Challenge Championship, not just during the races, but during the week, go to the social media outlets. Of course, world-challenge.com is the website. Great content, video content, and the link for all the live webcasts. You can also check it out on Facebook. Just search the Pirelli World Challenge Championship fan page. On Twitter, just look for the handle @WC Racing. Check out Motor Trend On Demand. That includes archived coverage of all of the Pirelli World Challenge races, and you can start your free trial today. So that's an opportunity for you to follow what's going on in World Challenge, not just during the races, but throughout the weeks in between.
So great battle there down into turn one there with Highcutter and Marcelli, just showing how competitive this field is. Highcutter was on the pole at Coda just 1 week ago. Now he's battling for the 13th position. That's the depth and quality of this field right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is just fierce. Obviously, for that first race, we were just amazed the top 10 in qualifying, in the absolute qualifying session, were covered by less than half a second. I think that would make this one of the most competitive in terms of depth of field here in the globe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the quality of the teams and the drivers. I mean, Alvaro Parente, I mean, he is a sensational sports car driver. He's now in his 5th year with McLaren as a full-time driver. This is a young man. He won the British Formula 3 Championship, the World Series by Renault Championship, did some Formula 1 testing. That's the pace that man has, currently running there in the 6th position.
Yeah, he told me earlier, I said, is this type of American street course, is this completely unfamiliar to you? You know, obviously not like Macau. And he goes, well, it would have been, except I had the chance to run at Baku on the city circuit there. And he said, somewhat similar with one exception. He said, all the paint down on this track, he said, you don't see that anywhere else. Welcome back to St. Petersburg. We have a huge battle brewing for the 6th spot. You're looking at it here. And to throw a little monkey into the business here, we have got the lap car. Remember, Preston Calvert had that spin. This queue of about 10 cars is closing up on him, and the battling is furious here.
You want GT3 racing at its best, you're seeing it right now. They come up on that slower car there. Very tricky section of the racetrack. 11-12 chicane. Parente trying to deal with it. Big stack up here as they try to come on the front straightaway.
Boy, and Eversley, he's going to get a run. There's a touch between Parente and Calvert.
Calvert was trying to get out of the way, but chose the wrong direction. Parente was trying to get inside him, and Preston drove to the right.
Boy, this is going to be a straight drag race.
Eversley's got him
covered.
Cleared him nicely. They go side by side, and Palmer looks to the inside.
Oh, and he hits
him.
Parente.
Just got it down to the inside. Alvaro stays. Oh, Cindric into the fence hard.
I was just going to say, I saw that starting to build here. As you can see, Fong trying to avoid the one car. Cindric went down underneath him, and Fong never even saw him coming, I don't think, and that's got Cindric into the barriers. And there's a wave. That's pretty much an indication he needs some help. We saw a huge plume of smoke from this car. Parente.
Yeah, he just stayed on the gas pedal once he's turned around, just try to keep the fire lit underneath that McLaren. And he was just being a little bit defensive, and Palmer had committed down hard to the inside. It'll be a tough one for the stewards to read into that.
And for Preston Calvert, you know, you're instructed, hold your line, let the other guys go through. He did it. And then when he finally tried to help and get out of the way, Parente had already committed, hadn't he?
That's right. I mean, you know, he's fighting a tough battle because down the middle of the straightaway, he's getting swamped, and then he's just trying to choose a line. And Palmer had got to the inside of him and had committed down the inside line. Eversley had cleared him easily. You see the damage to that McLaren of Austin Cindric. He was really quick here yesterday at the end of the race. Good finishing position. Here's another look at it. Eversley has cleared Parente as you see the slower car in the middle of the pack. Look at Palmer there, he's down to the inside. He'd made his presence known, so I think Alvaro should have given him a little bit of room there, Greg.
Yep, and then you saw...
I think it was Fong that got into the back of Cindric and turned him.
Yeah, he was trying to avoid Parente, turned and caught Cindric.
Pretty good lick into the wall.
Sure was.
Didn't look that bad in real time, but on that replay, is a much harder hit.
So Cindric had waved over to the officials, and there is damage to Preston Calvert, that right front corner as well. Of course, that was, he was caught up in that, so at least he's able to make it around into the pits, Cal.
Yeah, it's a shame. He just wrong place at the wrong time. He was trying to get out of the way. Alvaro had committed to the right, and that slowed Alvaro a lot on that front straightaway. That's why Eversley just stormed by. He had more speed than him anyway, and just had a lot more momentum on that particular lap. And then a big schmozzler behind everyone.
And of course, that it looks like Alvaro's car might just not be in too bad a shape. Problem is he's gone literally to the absolute back of the entire GT group.
And this is what you do not want when you're going for a championship. Certain circuits will suit your race car. This is a pretty good one from the McLaren, not the best, but when you get to places like Barber, that's where you're going to score the big points, but you still got to score as many as you can on the circuits that do not ideally suit you. So they'll be very disappointed there in the Capex camp. Certainly about Austin's situation right now and the fact that Alvaro is now buried deep in the field.
You can see the winds picking up, some of the debris blowing around, and some big debris blowing around at that. And good to see him out of the car. And of course, we've got a bit of a cleanup that's going to have to commence here. And that cleanup will be presented to you by Muck Daddy. So great to have them as a partner this year. And that's the best news of all. Austin out and having a chat. I'm sure very frustrated.
17-year-old, so much experience already. They're doing a great job of really being diverse with the types of cars that he's driving. A couple of times at Bathurst, 12 hours already. Global Rallycross. Bunch of different sedan experience, but really talented young kid, really nice young man, really enjoying his racing. He is going places.
So back up front as we circulate under our second caution, it is Lewis leading with, again, Davison and Long right now on the provisional podium. Then the two Cadillacs of points leader O'Connell and Cooper, and then a extremely racy Ryan Eversley. Boy, he does love St. Pete, no question about that. And when we go back to the green here, obviously, you've got the GTA battle. Problem is Fuentes has a few cars between himself and Monte Calvo, but in GT Cup, this is opportunity for Alec Udell, and it is time to get with it for Sloan Urie. So lots to look forward to when we come back to St. Pete.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Lincoln Tech, America's Technical Institute. By TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979. And by Motor Trend On Demand. Visit MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Start your free trial today.
We continue under caution here at the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete, our second caution of this race. Again, we had that incident down into turn one. While we were, just before we came back, actually, we saw a shot. Austin Cindric's car being moved off the track, so we're anticipating, Cal, going back to green pretty soon, but we're maybe going to get 2 laps of green flag, maybe.
But we could see some fireworks.
Oh boy.
These guys are going to be ready to go.
Yeah, this is about as 180-degree different as yesterday's race was. And again, maybe not a huge surprise in these doubleheader weekends. You always seem to have a little bit in your pocket, so you've got a car to race with on the next day, but I think this is a little bit more of the swing than they would have wanted.
Yeah, they wanted to go racing. We haven't seen much here today. Certainly going to be a great opportunity for Alec Udell to try and make a move on Sloan Urie, so Sloan has certainly got to be on top of his game on this restart. If we do in fact see it, clock is winding down. We just got to hope that we get those lights out soon.
I think we are, because they've been instructing the pace car to pick the pace up, so they want to get this done and around here, hopefully. And let's hope those lights go out.
Yeah, if we
there they are, they're out.
They're out, so we should see, with a bit of luck, 2 laps to go. I think.
All right, let's hope for 2.
Yeah, let's hope for 2. We shouldn't see a white flag with the time on the clock, hopefully. So we'll get the restart lap, then the white flag lap. So 2 hard racing laps, hopefully, here.
All right. Well, it's about to get serious once again here. Pace car getting a little bit of a gap. He'll duck into pit lane. He'll hit the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. And here we go again. And look at Pat Long up into 3rd.
What did Davison, though, learn on that last restart? Can he do anything different?
Just a little bit of a nose there, trying to see what's what, watching for that flag to fly. Jerry has it. We are green immediately. Ooh, big defensive move by Lewis. Now they touched.
Just like Coda, J.D. Davison almost turns one of the Effort Racing Porsches. Eversley tight down to the inside, side by side the two Cadillacs. Cooper going for his teammate.
He may have him unless he gives Johnny a little room, and Johnny has to tuck in, and he's under attack by Eversley immediately here. And we're looking at the white flag next time by. That's the confirmation that Cooper now thinking about trying to do something with Pat Long.
Yeah, Cooper's super aggressive now. He's cleared his teammate. Maybe he had a little bit of pace in hand to showcase here in these final couple of laps.
Through the turn number 8 here. This very busy complex of corners.
Oh, side by side there with Marcelli in form. Coming off of turn 9.
Onto the back straight. Here we go. The two leaders have opened up a little bit of a margin. Long defending on Cooper and O'Connell. He's got a mirror full of Eversley in that Acura.
Yeah, I don't think Long's car is handling quite how he wants it. He's having to be a bit defensive here. He's not staying with our two leaders as we anticipated for today's race.
And on top of Cadillac, I just saw a couple little raindrops on that camera lens as well. So white flag should be coming out this time by. It's in the starter's hands. Jerry lets it fly. One more lap to go. Who can hang on? Who can make something happen?
Michael Lewis, what a job there as Cooper there looks. Long's locked up. Cooper's through. Can O'Connell follow him as well? Side by side here between two of the veterans. Long hangs on.
Boy, O'Connell had to give way. He just could not make that work. You don't see Long lock up like that. I think you're right. I think the handling's not quite what he wanted.
Well, maybe he's got something going on with the ABS system as well, Greg. He shouldn't see lock up like that.
Now, let's see. This is where Eversley was able to pounce, and O'Connell got balked a little bit there. No opportunity for Ryan at this point.
Michael Cooper, what a start to this racing campaign. He came into this race 8 points behind Johnny O. It's going to be super tight tonight if they hang on in these positions.
Yeah, he came out of Circuit of the Americas the opening 2 rounds with podiums in each race. What a remarkable debut in the GT class he has made. And of course, this is Michael Lewis. He's been in the GT class now for a year and almost 2 at this stage. And now, could he do it? Looks like he might. One more corner, Cal, and he may sweep the weekend. Young Michael Lewis, what a story. The flag flies on the number 41 Effort Porsche. The lights flash. J.D. Davison, what a rebound from the problems yesterday.
Yeah, that's a superb run for that group in second place there. The always evolving team, but look at this battle across the line.
And here comes, I think, our battle in GT Cup.
It is.
Look how close. Not enough. Yuri gets his 3rd win of the season. But Alec Udell was there, just didn't maybe have enough time. Wow. Boy, when you get these long yellows, it compresses so much in just a few moments. And
well,
Lewis,
I certainly didn't expect Cooper to get around O'Connell, but I really didn't expect Pat Long to have that little problem down into turn 1. He didn't look comfortable with the race car throughout the course of this race. Certainly made the most of some opportunity to move up from his 7th grid spot, Greg, but Martin Fuentes, another great dominant season so far. Clean sweep of all 4 rounds in GTA.
Yeah, exactly. A tremendous season for him. And, you know, maybe the opportunity with this, if they still had any problems with the cooling in that car, the yellows, obviously didn't have to be running it as high rev, but either way it worked. But for Michael Lewis, wow, what a great story here at St. Pete for this young man. Look at that, celebrating, and with good reason. And there is Sloan Uri, as we talked about, winning essentially his 3rd straight race. It was Udell the 1st round at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, he's just really on form. I mean, he had that problem with some traffic. Otherwise, it could have been 4 for 4 for Sloan Uri. It's going to be fascinating to see those two battle. Hopefully, Curry Fergus will be at our next round of the championship. Obviously, had that monster hit here today. We expect those 3 youngsters to be battling it out for GT Cup honors this season.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to step away. When we come back, we'll hear from our double winner. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Pete at the gorgeous St. Petersburg street course. Of course, cloudy, moisture moving in. Just got the race in, even with all the cautions. And Michael Lewis sweeps the weekend. What a story. And he is with Jeff Lepper.
So Michael Lewis, you're able to double up on the streets of St. Petersburg, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, thank you to Effort Racing, Smile Generation, Kurt Breckers for making this car on rails all weekend, restarts, long runs, short runs. This thing was on fire. really gratified to hear that both drivers were okay after those incidents in the second race. It just basically was a restart race, kind of like a green-white checkered sort of deal where you just have to warm your tires up and just be prepared for the worst. And this Porsche had a lot of torque off the line, getting into turn one, and just was able to defend and made this car as wide as possible in the most legal way possible, and just kind of drove away after that first corner was navigated.
And with that, Cal, that sweep, I mean, he's moving up in the points too, isn't it?
Yes, huge. It's a big weekend for him, and certainly for the Effort Racing team. What a 7-day period they've had since the big crash in Austin for Pat Long, and then to come here with the other car and dominate is superb.
Yeah, and a flip-flop at the top between the Cadillac driver in those points as well. How about GTA Drivers' Championship points? Pretty easy.
Fuentes on top, and Montecalvo had fast lap here today. He's going to come back strong, I think, this championship season.
Absolutely, and speaking of Mr. Fuentes, let's get down to Jeff.
Well, Martin Fuentes, that makes it a perfect season so far, 4 wins in a row.
This was a complicated race, a lot of contact. Circuits are always tight, and we came out without a scratch. We played it, we were listening to our spotter, we were just playing the race, safe race, and happy, 4 out of 4. I can't ask anything else. I'm just happy. I'm happy for Ferrari. I'm happy for the sponsors, happy for everyone.
Boy, what a season for Martin Fuentes here. Let's take a look at our Cadillac ATS move of the race. It changed on us about 3 times, but Cooper's move for that podium was special.
Well, initially it was the move on his teammate for the 4th spot. That eventually came a podium spot when he got by Pat Long a lap later, but superb run and certainly made a mark. He made a statement right there on Johnny O'Connell.
He absolutely did. GT manufacturer points with Lewis sweeping the weekend. Porsche just expands its lead, and now we want to get down and hear from our winner in GT Cup. Once again, Sloan Uri, Jeff, a 3rd consecutive win.
Well, Sloan Uri, your car seemed to be on a rail here this weekend, doubled up, and that makes 3 wins on the season.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Double up a weekend, just incredible. The team just completely deserves it. It's all on them. True Speed did a great job, but man, I got to say, Alec gave us a real run for our money there. He picked it up big time from yesterday, so it wasn't easy for sure today, and just happy to be on top step again, and we'll be moving forward with this momentum into Barber.
Boy, what a season he's starting off with here in our GT Cup points. Again, Uri looking very strong at this point, but Udell staying in striking distance. That's going to be, I think, a great fight all season long. Key at turning point, Cal, it had to be Corey Ferguson's crash because it changed the whole dynamic of the race with that hugely long yellow.
It really did. Suddenly it was a super sprint race to the checkered flag here today. Unfortunately, because we had such a great race here yesterday, green flag all of the way. But again, it's you just got to take advantage when you can, and Michael Lewis, I think, was pretty much unbeatable, whether we were green flag all the way or with the cautions today.
Yeah, he had it covered. And our VP Racing Fuels Hard Charger Award, hey, a nice one here for Andrew Palmer in the number 87 Bentley Team Absolute Bentley Continental, up 7 spots. Great to see them get something here. Motul Fast Lap Awards, you mentioned Lewis, a 1:13.744 GTA. It was actually Frankie Montecalvo, got the rear end of that car settled down, and that Mercedes responded with a 1:15.039. GT Cup, Alec Udell in that late charge at a 1:16.720 second lap. And obviously, that's going to wrap things up here. One thing I do want to say, though, is a member of the Pirelli World Challenge and SCCA Pro Racing family who's been a part of this series for a long time. I've been doing it a while. He's been a big part of it. Tommy Mickwald, this is his last official race. He might pop in a few times. He's going to be sorely missed. A very special and dedicated individual. Our Kia Rewind, you take a look back at some of the highlights. Our next race will be the Roar by the Shore at Long Beach. And guess what, folks? We will be live. For Jeff Lepper, Calvin Fish, and our entire CBS Sports Network crew, I'm Greg Creamer. In association with WC Vision, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.